Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Between Realities VR podcast. How you doing? It is a pleasure to see you. Oh my gosh, it's Friday. We're live on the internet.
We are.
Things
Happy
could be
Friday.
worse. Happy Friday.
Woo.
Happy Between Realities Friday, everybody. My name is Alex VR. I am co-host of this magnificent broadcast that you are about to
Consume.
Nom, 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 consume. And I am joined here by my co-host, Skiva.
Hey, dude.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good.
All right.
How you doing, Skiva?
I'm all right. You know, it's been a stressful week. We had our soundboard blow up.
Yeah.
So we have these new mediocre mics right here just until we get our stuff back. So please deal with some of these changes. Hopefully everything sounds good. If you want to let us know in the chat, make sure.
You deal with them.
Yeah.
Nobody else has to deal with it.
This is true.
Just
this
you.
is true. I have to deal with it. Yes.
Hey, chat. Thank you guys for joining us. This is a live show. We are live. However, we got audio versions of this out there. We've got the replay popping up on Upload VR. We're proud Upload VR correspondents here at Between Realities. More about on that later. But hey, chat. Good to see you guys. Thanks for joining us. Upstream Events is first in my chat log today, saying great guests. Looks like an awesome episode. You're right. It's going to be a great episode. Space Denizens in the house. Yo, Mike Newton, bring on the weekend. Oh, you were right, dude. Yes, let's bring on the weekend. Sweaty Nugget JJ hyping up the show
What's
today.
up, buddy?
In the Discord. Everybody join the Discord. Come and hang out. We got Sampler 19 in the house. Oh, Blaston. What? Oh, cross that bridge when we get to it. Short Stack VR is here. What's up, dude?
What's up, Stacks?
We just had him on the show last week.
We
Great
did.
guy. Go and watch our old episode with Short Stacks. We've got Chroma Snare here. Oh, we've got a little virtual waypoint. Let's go. We've got a little Colin Gaming 0924 who's here from the Mystical. Hey.
Wow, cool. What's
Thanks
up?
for coming back. The VR Realm, Mr. Paul. What's up, bro? We've got Flex UK. Oh, a little Z-Storm Games. He can't stay for long, but he came to say hi, and that means the world to us. Just come say hi, people, okay?
Yeah.
You don't have to stay forever. Just come and hang out.
If you stay forever, that'd be cool, too.
Yeah, that's fine. The Aspiring Dreamer sent him here. What, dude, the Mystical sent the Aspiring Dreamer here as well. Man, Mystical must have like retweeted or something like that. He's a homie.
Well, right on. Dude, we love that guy, man.
We do.
He's so great.
Yes, he
His
is.
content's fantastic.
He is. Oh, is that Gun Raiders in chat? Oh,
Ooh.
We'll cross that separate bridge when we get to it. Douglas K here. Oh, Grumpy Duck VR. What's up, man? Little Tribe Grey Wolf VR. Little
Tribe,
TikToker
homie.
extraordinaire. Absolutely crushing it.
Heck yeah.
Danny Hunkley. Good to see
Danny,
you, man.
word up, buddy.
Really good to see you, dude. Hussein X is here. We got a little GT. That's not GT. That's
That's
GT.
GT. That's twice the GT.
Person
same amount of money.
is here as well.
Person.
Everyone else who is here, thank you guys.
What's up, guys?
Very much for joining us. So today, and I guess next, this week, I guess, is starting today. It's going to go through the weekend, but we're not really doing any shows over the weekend. But, this is all about VAL. VAL, the winter sports. The VAL winter sports are here. And today we have 4 separate guests joining us in teams of 2 separately to go over some of the games that are going to be appearing in the VAL Winter Games this year and talk about some of the stuff that you need to talk about with these games.
Yeah, esports, man. Esports are so cool. The future of gaming is not sitting in a chair and a couch, but it's actually up in VR, moving around and getting more athletic.
It is.
Right?
And the cool thing about VAL, and this is something that we'll get to dive into a little bit this week, is that they found a way to turn non-esport games into esports.
Right.
It's
right.
like not just like competitive shooters and stuff, which of course there are, but there's also other kinds of games too, and we'll be able to
wide variety of all
talk
kinds
about
of
that.
stuff.
Totally.
Yeah, which is awesome.
So we're going to start, however, with some games that I think are a little bit more obviously geared for competitive matches. And those games, which we've already mentioned because we saw them in the chat, are Blaston and Gun Raiders. And we have 2 amazing dudes coming from each team, respectively. We have Defure, right, from Resolution Games joining us. And we also have Justin from Gun Raiders. He's the co-founder of Gun Raiders. Hey, gentlemen. Hello, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, how's it going?
What is up?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Good to see you guys.
Hello, dudes. Hey, Defure, you are the community manager over at Resolution Games, huh?
Yeah, for about a year now, I think. So really nice to be here. I've been, knowing about this podcast for a while. So I was saying earlier, it's nice. It feels kind of weird to be on here now, but it's about a year now. Community management, focusing mostly on Blaston, but of course, it's kind of a growing company and a lot of different games. I'm not the only community manager, but so a lot of things happening right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're huge fans of Resolution Games. It's a company that it's tried and true in the VR community, and everything you guys do is just gold as far as I'm concerned.
For real.
Yeah. So there are worse companies to be a community manager of. That's for sure. So congratulations, man, for being a part of such an awesome squad.
Well, thanks, I guess. Yeah, it's nice to be here.
Yeah, of course. And Justin from Gun Raiders, you are co-founder of Gun Raiders, which is an up-and-coming VR title, which is free to play too, isn't it?
Yep. Free to play. Always plan to be and always will be.
Well, that's amazing. We're going to dive into that a little bit.
Yeah.
But first, before we do, Virtual Athletics League Winter Games, here's the trailer. Let's check it out.
Oh, the trailer here. Let me
And then
bring it up.
I was really smooth there.
You were. I was not.
Welcome to VR Winter Games.
Welcome to the VR Winter Games.
Holy smokes,
Man.
everybody.
I got to say, those guys know how to make a hype trailer.
The Virtual Athletics League is running their fourth big event with the Winter Games starting February 26th. It's already happened, and running until March 20th. If you go to onearena.gg/winter-games, you can see their full schedule, link in the description below, I assume. And you can participate. So let's do that.
Yeah, so like you were saying, there's links in the description for Val. There's also links in the description for each one of our guests and direct links for you to be able to get right to the store page of these games and to pick them up because they're awesome.
All right, baby. Let's get into this. Justin from Gun Raiders. Gun Raiders. It's a game that is new to me. It's new on my radar. I've been doing some digging around and researching and looking for great games to do haptics integrations with, and stumbled across Gun Raiders. And we actually had met before the show and just realized it today when you joined our call that we had already been chatting. Why don't you give oh my gosh, how does that sound?
Sorry.
Why don't you give everybody a little breakdown of Gun Raiders, right? Like, what's the game? What's it about? What can you expect when you play it?
Sure. Gun Raiders is I'm going to say, for all ages, free-to-play shooter. Kind of started as an arena shooter. It did actually start as an arena scale project that ended up morphing in it due to COVID.
Yeah.
Location-based doesn't happen, so we went online. And we'd been doing all our testing online anyway for the location-based stuff, and figured, hey, why don't we just let everyone play this without having to go to a warehouse or something? So yeah, we got it. It's a shooter, all ages. We got a social hub where everyone can come in. They join the game. They're right in the hub. They can talk to other players, and from there they can jump out into different maps. We have let's see, team deathmatch. We have free for all. We have a kind of like a control King of the Hill kind of game mode, and also a kind of our version on a capture the flag where you're kind of trying to score points on people's bases. And we got a battle pass that released late last year. That's running for 3 months. We have our season 2 coming up. And we got an in-game store. People can customize their skins. Yeah, lots of different stuff.
Sweet. And what's tell us a little bit about like the art style and the art direction of the game.
Sure. I think we're just trying to have a lot of fun with it, and being creative with, I think, the performance budget on the Quest.
Totally.
That's where everyone is. So it's kind of like a low poly style map inspiration. I think originally came from kind of Quake, hallway design. Really trying to optimize all our levels. We got one texture sheet that we've used for like 10 levels. Season 2 is going to be a new one in a completely different direction. It's going to be a little bit more modern shapes instead of so much squares and boxes. But I think low poly allows us to do a lot of stuff with the weapons, and also getting a lot more people into one server at a time. Every time you add one person, the frame rate takes a hit. So pretty much if we can have everyone as performant as possible, but still looks fun. So.
And don't let low poly fool you, because I've played this game and it is fun and super immersive.
Yeah, you were saying something about like loving the gun mechanics or something.
Yeah, the gun mechanics are fantastic, and thank God, right? Because it's called Gun Raiders, and the guns are great. They feel good. They're fantastic to shoot. The aim is right on.
Get it like a jetpack, and you like fly around and stuff.
It's really cool. It's really, really cool.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, we spent a lot of time kind of tuning those mechanics. We're pretty particular on like the both myself and one of the other founders, actually our whole team, we have a pretty extensive background in human computer interaction and design. So I think like the feel and the experience of going through levels, and also like grabbing stuff and making it feel not just like a pancake game, but an actual VR game, where you're grabbing stuff, but also trying to keep it not too complicated. It's not supposed to be real. It's just kind of supposed to be like fun. So how can we get you to feel like a badass without like overcomplicating everything? I think we've got a good balance.
When it comes to like social multiplayer games, free to play, in my opinion, is like such a good approach. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of the decision-making process that went into choosing to make it a free-to-play title?
Sure. Yeah, of course. I think, from the beginning, we figured, it's a multiplayer game. If we don't have users, we're going to be dead in the water after launch. And so that was kind of one of our big concerns. And we figured, we've done several other games in the past that were not free to play, and looking at the market where we got Fortnite, we got Apex, a lot of these bigger games, League, they're all free to play, and I think that's just where we think the model for this type of game is going to be. And so we figured, okay, let's try it out. Let's try free to play. If anything, I'd rather lots of people playing our game and we make no money than the other way around, because it seemed like it would be a cool portfolio piece if at least 1,000 people knew what the game was instead of 10 people. So so maybe it wasn't really a financial decision, but it was strategic in that also we didn't see very many free to play offerings on the store itself that were kind of a higher quality.
Right.
So it seemed like it was a good spot that we could fit in.
So, the obvious question for a lot of people when it comes to free to play titles is the question of community, right? It's hard to control a community sometimes when it's a free to play title and just anyone who's got their hands on the hardware can download it, which more often than not ends up being some kids who are just losing their mind and freaking out, or maybe somebody who's super toxic or coming from a Fortnite community or whatever. So I'm curious, how has it been for you guys, having this open, like revolving door style community, and do you have problems with toxicity and people getting into it, and what's that been like for you?
I mean, I could see why other games have potentially less toxicity. Yeah, because I don't know about not toxicity, but yeah, there's like a gate to get in, right? You got to pay, so you already don't have a lot of these younger crowd who are they're just having fun, but it's just a different type of fun that I think an adult might have. So then there's a clash there. So toxicity is one of our bigger challenges. How do you moderate thousands of people online every day? Our team's very small. So I mean, we've been building tools. We have some automatic reporting tools, and then the reports for a while was just kind of overwhelming. So we've built a little bit more smart, some of them. So we have some automatic bans coming up. Of course, those are not bulletproof, and people can also get banned by accident. Actually, I got banned even just the other day. Yeah, I was just chatting with our testing group, and then all of a sudden it was like, you've been mic banned, and I realized I didn't have it set where the devs can't get banned. So I had to leave and anyway. So it's a work in progress, but definitely toxicity and just moderation. I think it's mostly just a clash of people who are playing the game for different reasons, and so I think a big part of I think banning isn't necessarily the best approach. It's going to be more like getting people to play with people that they want to play with, or at least the group, people that they want to play with. Yeah. So whether that's age, or it's like play style, or I'm going into social versus I'm going into kill everybody.
Man, I gotta take a page from your book, because I don't ban people that play games, but I do some moderation for the After the Fall Discord server. And the first bit of toxicity out of someone's mouth, hate speech, I'm just like, no warning, ban. See you later. You're gone. So,
yeah. I mean, there's definitely a line where if they're cross, I'm like,
right,
forget it. You're out. I don't even want you to play.
Right.
See you later.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I'm really excited that this is a free-to-play multiplayer game of quality that people can play on the Quest with friends. If you convince your buddy to get a Quest, he doesn't have to spend another $1. He can just go grab Gun Raiders, and the two of you guys can jump in there.
You'll have a blast
and
for
start having fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think allowing players to play with who they want to play with is absolutely crucial. It's even more crucial in VR than it is in flat screen gaming, because it's so personable in VR. It's like you really are embodied in your avatar, and in my real life, I choose who I spend my time with very selectively. I don't want to be forced to hang out with people who I don't like. And in VR, it's very much the same thing for me. I very rarely am going into public lobbies, almost always grabbing friends and jumping into lobbies together and doing it that way. So I really do think that's a great solution.
Yep.
Cool.
Now,
I like it a lot too.
One game that is not free to play, but probably doesn't have too many problems getting people to play it because it comes from such a successful studio is Blaston. And
that's a nice way to introduce it.
Dude, I mean, Resolution Games has been killing it for a while now, and you almost I personally give Resolution Games the benefit of the doubt when a title's going to come out. I'm like, okay, well, this is probably going to be.
It's going to be good for sure. Yeah.
And it's interesting because this Resolution or Blaston is exactly what we were just talking about for me, where I won't go on and play Blaston with randoms, but I love to challenge a friend. It's so exciting for me when I know who I'm playing against. The stakes are risen, and it's really, really fun. So how have things been in the community of Blaston lately? You guys having a lot of fun? You guys have a lot of players? How's it going?
Yeah, I mean, it's going well. I kind of got stuck on what Justin was saying earlier with the story of the game, and I feel like both of these games have very different backgrounds. I feel for Blaston's case, since it was released a while ago, and free to play, of course, I'm by no means against this. Because it feels like we're not setting up for a debate here, are we? But no, but yeah, no. I was just gonna say that I think for Blaston, the case was that the development loop for that one was very short, and they wanted to get something out very quickly. And back then, free to play wasn't as more common, I would say. It's getting more and more common, which is nice to see. And it had a very low price point initially at $9, and then it kind of grew more and more, and then it kind of was in a weird place where it's okay, it doesn't really make sense to have this for $9 because it's I'm not sure how many percentages that we have increased it by from the actual release,
Right.
because it was kind of like a prototype that worked, and then it was like, oh, we enjoy this loop. What can we add to it? So it's just really fun to hear those, like, that there are different stories coming into VR, and that everyone's like still trying to find, I guess, what the correct way to do it is. But as for what's going on with Blaston, I mean, we've been doing bigger updates now. In the beginning, it was monthly, but then we kind of figured we should probably think this through a bit more and actually do themed updates. So we have been kind of spacing them out quarterly, and the latest one that we had was Arctic Blast, which was now this December. So it was like our winter-themed one, which fits pretty nicely with the VAL Winter Games, I would say.
Yeah.
It had the winter background in the trailer, but yeah, and it's been going really nice. We learn so many things in each update too, because Blaston is a very experimental game. Like, it is a 1v1 duel game where you customize your loadout. But every time we try something new, we learn that, like, unexpected things. So, for example, in Arctic Blast, you usually can only have one type of weapon. So you have to have like 6 different weapons. But in the Arctic Blast seasonal mode that we introduced, you had all of one type of weapon, so only like snowballs, and that actually made it super intense to play, because normally when you play duels, you have these combos, you have some downtime, but then when you have these snowballs just spawning in constantly, like, I could play maybe 3 of those, and then I'm on the floor, like, just out of breath because it was so intense. And we didn't realize that that was going to happen, and that's kind of the beauty of it, I guess. But it's been going well. It's steadily growing. We've been focusing somewhat on like esports as well. Val doing a lot of good work here. So, but we're also doing a lot in the community as well. So lots of fun stuff happening.
That's great. You know, I really like seasonal updates for a few reasons, right? Like, there's like, it kind of like celebrates, I don't know, like the time of the year or whatever most of the time. A lot of times they're seasonal, like summer update, winter update, that kind of thing. But it's almost, there's this like subconscious thing that happens when the thumbnail updates in my game library, and it goes from like looking like a normal thumbnail that it always looked to like now having like icicles and snow, snow on it, because that to me is an indication that that game is fresh and being updated. You know, like when that theme happens and like the thumbnail changes, like I don't even need to like be on your Twitter to know something happened. You know, it says like winter update, like boom, like that's a big deal. And it like, I really do think it incentivizes people to fire the game back up.
Yeah, and it's super immersive too, right? Because if you're, you know, maybe not so much in Arizona where we live in the desert, right? But when something switches to winter, Christmas is rolling around, you hop in a game, it's also winter in the game.
Yeah, you get in the spirit.
It's super immersive. I think it's great. I love it.
It is great.
I feel like I can't really relate when like half of the year is like just darkness and winter here in Sweden. But it sounds great, man.
Dude, just come visit, man. You'll see.
Yeah.
You come visit, and that's it. You'll be like, all right, how do I do this? We'll start looking for a place. Well, yeah, this is awesome, dude. So, where was I going?
Community.
Yeah. I guess it. Oh, you know what? I wanted to mention something about the fact that Blaston, I personally don't think is a free-to-play game. Like, when I think of like the way that it's set up, you know, and like I think you guys made the right choice. You know, I think that how much is Blaston right now? $14.99.
No, we went up to $19.99.
Ooh,
So
did it really?
from $9.99 to $19.99.
Wow.
That was a lot of 9s, sorry, but
Yeah.
I think I got it right. I'm like in my second language here. I think I'm doing okay.
You're doing great.
Well, you know, but there's a lot of meat on the bones there. You know, there's a single player mode and AIs to fight against, and it's not like as like social, you know, like sure you're playing with people, but it's not like a social lobby like something that you'll find in Gun Raiders where people are just like running around and, you know, yelling at each other and just goofing off.
Yeah, I think, I mean, there's definitely, and I'd love to hear Justin's take on this too, but I think for Blaston, it's like one of those things where if you're having a good game of Blaston, you probably should not be able to talk. Like that is, then something is not really right. But then we also do have like a social space too, which we introduced, I believe,
I forgot about that
a year ago actually. And that is one of the things that has been developing. So we've begun with like 1 floor in this bar, and then we kind of increased to 2 floors, and then the latest update we added a 3rd floor with like a knockout tournament. So you have this single elimination with 8 players that you can play. Yeah, and those spaces are more for when they have like knocked each other out enough times and they need to like catch a breath. They're just staying around in the bar for like, 10 minutes, just kind of trying to talk to each other, I guess, and
So
then
cool.
playing some more. So
I do love it. Justin, tell us a little bit about Gun Raiders' involvement with the Virtual Athletics League and the Winter Games.
Sure. I mean, Nate from VAL approached us a while ago, and he asking, is there something we could do together or whatever. And I think we're still building the game to be a little bit more, I suppose, esports friendly. Like we don't have spectating right now. It's something that a lot of people are asking for. Also, it's Quest only, which has its own challenges with streaming,
Totally.
things like that versus PC. So I think when this is one of my first kind of involvements with VAL, and I think as we go forward, and we have these more streamer or esports friendly features like the spectating and the ability to stream a little bit better, or maybe a PC version dedicated for streamers alike will probably be a little bit more involved.
Mm-hmm.
I think we started out a little bit more esports focused as a game direction, but once it was released, and maybe due to the free-to-play business model, it definitely became more of a social sandboxy hangout game that happens to have guns and shooting modes in it. I don't think we're going full sandbox social or full hardcore esports. And I think we're kind of in the middle, and we like the prospects of being able to go both ways at least.
Totally. So let's say I wanted to play Gun Raiders in the games this year. Like, what does that look like? Are there like team like death matches or something, or like how does it work?
Yep. So we have there's team deathmatch as well as free for all, but yeah, we've been having hosted tournaments every month.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live. Hey, Mike Newton, he's back with us.
Well, okay. Sorry, we had an OBS crash there, which is kind of crazy. And it hasn't brought back in our guests, but let me fix that real quick live while we're on the show. Okay.
Dude, what a bummer, huh?
That is a bummer. Sometimes you just can't control what tech is going to do. It is what it is.
You need to control it, man.
I do. Well, I control everything that I can control. I do.
And the last time we had an issue like this
was with the Val stream.
Hey, what's up, Val? You love us yet?
All right. Well, we're back. We're on a new stream. Hopefully everyone finds their way over here, and we can just continue on as planned.
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess I'll share a link to the new stream.
Yeah, do that. And then afterwards, maybe we'll just pull them down, combine the two, and put it back up.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, But anyway, thanks for anyone who has rejoined. Thanks for being here. While we kind of get through some of these technical difficulties.
Oh boy.
But
well, I tweeted a new link.
Cool.
Whatever. It's
it is what it is, man. You can't control what you can't control. So let's just move on and continue on.
Okay. Well, let's navigate back. Let's navigate back to where we were. So, where were we? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
We actually have
communities.
Yes, community, and we actually don't have much longer before we bring on our next guests. Anyway,
I want to know I feel like being a community manager depends. Like what your job is depends greatly on who you're community manager for. So, maybe I'm wrong, but I have a feeling that like your job and my job are not exactly the same. So what's the day what's the day in the life of a community manager for you?
Yeah, so I mean, it's super different even for the game, but also as who you are as a person, I would say. Like, it very much depends on what you want to do with that role for me. And I mean, I work very closely with Civial, who is the other like main community manager and who has been taking care of the Demio community. And obviously, like Blaston and Demion side by side to each other is very different games that require very different things. Maybe the feelings are still the same of like, you want to pride yourself and show off your whatever your accomplishment, but to do that and execute that is very different. So for me, I have a background in esports, and which Civil does as well, but that's besides the thing. But and Blaston kind of lends itself to that experience. So hosting these types of events or tournaments, we do these types of kind of in-game events, and we like to call them events because we want to, kind of encourage everyone to be a part of it. Tournaments are great too, but it's very hard to kind of include everyone because it's very, the top will always go on for that type of thing. But yeah, so it ranges, man. Like it's so different day to day with community management. I've had so many people go up to me and it's like, so what do you really do? And I always feel so guilty when they say that because it's like, no, I work. Like I promise, like it's a real job. But it ranges from, social media stuff, coordinating community initiatives like tournaments. We went really hard with the VAL Summer Games last year, for example. I made it my sole mission to make like hopefully the one of the best. No, I'm not gonna go there. Like a good esports stream at least for the finals that we did. So that was a real big initiative for me. Yeah. And it was kind of cool. We managed to get Twitch front page, which was unexpected viewers. That was fun. But then it also comes down to, just like creating content and being there for the community itself, making sure that everyone's having a great time and feeling safe as well. Nice. It's like a wide variety, I would definitely have to say. It's like usually sometimes at the office, people say, "Oh, hey, it's the guy from YouTube." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm the funny guy from YouTube," but I hope I can say that it's more than that.
We're definitely back here, everybody. We had an OBS crash, so if you're rejoining us, thank you for being here. It really was a $2 super chat from Paul from the VR realm that crashed everything.
Oh my god, that's funny.
So thank you, Paul, for spending $2 to destroy the stream. Really appreciate that.
Well, we do appreciate any donations, but yeah,
for the record, he used that message to say that he's going to go download Gun Raiders. So
sweet.
Yes.
Nice.
Money well spent.
So yeah, right. And as co-founder of and on such a small team, I imagine you probably wear many hats, don't you, Justin?
Yes. Yeah. I would say I'm not. I'm in the community. I wouldn't say I'm the community manager, but I love talking to the players. I'm in the Discord often. It's easy to kind of spiral out of control and hang out in there for too long.
Yeah.
Usually I'm in there we have a group of about 60 testers who are, I like to chat with about, hey, we just did a play test this week for our new season 2 stuff that's coming out in April. So, getting their feedback on new weapon stuff or new mechanics, new maps, play testing with them. Also just playing, jumping into public matches with them and the other community just to see, how they're actually playing the game. And yeah, a lot of it's really interesting in that they don't play it how we intended it or we designed it.
It's always that way, isn't it?
Their own thing. Yeah, which is super fascinating.
Well,
best part.
That is the best part. So we're getting ready to do a little bit of a shift change here. So DeFior, tell us just a little bit more about kind of what people can expect if they want to participate in the Winter Games this year with Blaston.
Yeah, so the Winter Games is a bit similar to what we did in the Summer Games as well. We divided it into an open and premier bracket, and the reason for doing so is because, as you mentioned earlier, VAL has done a really great job of not only including the esportsy games, but also games that you can just kind of generally have fun with and compete in. And so we wanted to kind of lend ourselves to that and welcome those people too. So the premier bracket is basically the top brass in the community. And that's where we're going to see a lot of like really crazy stuff. And then the open bracket, which by the way, I'm in as well. I've lost 3 games in a row. Woo! So we have group stages there for a few weeks, and that leads up to this like final bracket, and then we show them like head to head, and it's going to be like the up and coming players and then the pro players, you know, and that's usually how we have gone about it. So
Sweet. Thank you, Diffure. It's really been awesome having you on the show. You know, as you've seen us, we've seen you making videos with Resolution Games. So it's really great that we've crossed paths and had a chance to connect and chat. So thank you for joining us. And Justin, why don't you tell us what we can expect from the Gun Raiders team, you know, here as we get into the Winter Games and as we surpass them.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, we're full steam ahead with our next season that's coming out. April 2nd is when we're hoping that drops. There'll be a new battle pass with that, 2nd. And there's going to be a big change in that. Right now, when you log into the game, you join into the social hub. It's called Nexus. The next season, you're going to launch into a completely new area. It's going to have its own social hub, but you can still go back and play any of the old content. We've got new weapons, new game modes, and also we're going to be adding some kind of like pop-up event type stuff that happens in the social space, because I think a lot of people like to hang out in there. Sometimes they don't even want to leave. So we're doing we're dropping game modes in there kind of as you play, as well as trying to connect the levels a little bit more, where you can just kind of walk between them instead of kind of going through a portal or something that maybe is a little bit more intimidating. You can just walk between levels, walk back and forth. I think it's gonna be really cool. Looking forward to it.
Beautiful.
Sweet.
Thank you for making a free-to-play game for Quest kids to pick up and just go crazy in. Seriously, I'm making a joke, but like also like thank you. Like I think free-to-play is a great way to get people playing games and build a community. So nicely done.
Great game.
Awesome.
Both
Thank you
of
very
these
much.
games are absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed speaking to both of you guys. So thanks for coming on, and thanks for enduring some of the technical difficulties that we've had.
Good.
And I guess we will leave and go to a coming right back screen. We'll get our next guests on, and we will be back in
just a moment.
Yep. All right.
See you in a moment, everyone.
All right. Be right back.
Thank you.
Very good. Hey, what's up, everybody? We are back. The Between Realities VR podcast, round 2 of this Virtual Athletics League Winter Games Takeover, episode number 1. We have ditched our former guests and brought on 2 fresh, shining, amazing faces to join us here for another discussion about some of the games that are involved in VAL Winter Games. And we would like to introduce Fernanda from Epic Roller Coasters, co-founder of B4T Games, and Sean from Vertical Shift. He's the VP of Creative Content at Corrupted Media. Thank you guys for joining us.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. So we've got a couple of topic points here to kind of go over. But first, why don't we just get a brief introduction of the games, right, and how you're involved in with VAL this year. So, Fernando, why don't you tell us a little bit about Epic Roller Coasters and what they're doing with the Winter Games this year?
I'm sorry, I'm hearing myself, so if I repeat sometimes.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I wonder if that's coming from us.
Yeah, it stopped now. Sorry.
Okay.
So my name is Fernanda. I work on B4T Games with Epic Roller Coasters. We've been working with Epic Roller Coasters for 5 years now. We started with Gear VR a long time ago, so it's a long journey in the way. It's a roller coaster game. It started with some roller coasters, and today we have made the game with shooter and race and multiplayer. We just made a huge update on the multiplayer platform, the Oculus. We made it work better with their platform. They changed some things, and now it is easier to connect with people. So the core of the game is a roller coaster, but you can have fun in several different ways. In there, we have today 18 roller coasters with different teams and different things to look at and enjoy.
Beautiful. And how are you guys involved with VAL this year?
We made some work with them about marketing in the past. So I'm not quite sure about that this year, but they also made some events on the game where a lot of people play it in like a huge multiplayer session.
Yeah. I haven't done the multiplayer in Epic Roller Coasters, but I bet you it's fun. I mean, I'm like trying to imagine what it's like what's a multiplayer session like in that game?
Yeah, you today you can connect like with your friend and it's like in a amusement park itself, and you can see them in your side and you can have your avatar. So it's pretty fun. You can talk and enjoy the roller coasters, take pictures and share with them. So it looks good.
Nice. Well, thanks for being here, Fernanda. And Sean from Vertical Shift, why don't you tell us a little bit about Vertical Shift and what's going on with VAL and you guys this year?
Absolutely. So Vertical Shift is a virtual reality online sport where you have grapple hooks, jetpacks, and a glider suit, and you compete in competitive sports such as freeze tag, infection, and hot seat. Several.
So not to cut you off here, Bud, but I think your noise gate is kind of cutting out a little bit, but I think you got to talk a little bit louder.
Sorry, was it?
No worries.
I was saying that Vertical Shift is a virtual reality online esport where you have grapple hooks, jetpacks, and wingsuits, and you compete in competitive sports such as freeze tag, infection, race, and we also have hot seat. We are currently in Steam Early Access and Oculus App Labs, and it's really fun. You get to feel like Spider-Man and Iron Man, and you play a bunch of different sports.
Sweet. And you're on App Lab, which is great, so people with the Quest can participate as well. That's awesome. And do you know what it looks like with the participation with VAL?
We've ran tournaments with VAL in the past. We hope to run tournaments with VAL in the future.
Beautiful. Well, that sounds good. So, the topic today with you guys is good. We're going to talk about a couple of things, but motion sickness is going to be one of the primary ones because we've got Epic Roller Coasters here, and that game it's for all intents and purposes like the poster child for motion sickness on the Quest for a lot of people, and it's kind of interesting because it's almost like people are like intuitively going to roller coaster experiences as like their first VR experiences. Why do you think that is, Fernanda?
At first, I think that VR is still like a new technology. It doesn't appeal to everyone as something easy to use. And the idea of a roller coaster is something that you can sit and watch, and you don't have to do a lot of interactions with it, a lot of tutorials, and anyone can try it. So you can give to your mom and your father and your grandmother. I gave it to mine, for example. And they can participate of this new technology that is not that new anymore. Probably for our generation, it's already something that we can understand very easily. But for past generations, it doesn't happen that way. So at first, I believe it's because that you don't have to have a lot of interactions and a lot of tutorials to start something and to understand what VR is about.
Mm-hmm. a quick story about Epic Roller Coasters. When my kid was 5, which was only 2 years ago, this was like her falling in love moment with VR, right? Because I used to put her on my lap, put a headset on, cast it to the TV so I could see what was happening, and like be the motion chair for the roller coaster. And every day, all I heard was, "Daddy, I want to do the roller coaster. Daddy, I want to do the roller coaster." It was great, and it's a lot of fun. This game is a lot of fun. If you have your VR legs, it's amazing. And you know,
Does she?
yeah. She does. Absolutely. She
never
grew up in VR, man.
But she never complained about feeling
No.
dizzy or
Nope.
uncomfortable or anything.
Nope.
So
I've never seen a kid feel uncomfortable in VR,
know, that's
actually.
weird. Me
I had some experiences in the past, even with arcades, like real life arcades that you go on shopping malls and things like that. And I've never seen a kid feel dizzy on a virtual reality device. I don't know why. I don't have the scientific facts to show you guys the
Sure.
reason, but it's something that I experienced in my life. And what you said, nothing could make me happier, because actually it's the goal of our game, something that for family, that they could use together and have fun together. So the person that is outside looking at it is also having fun, and the person that is looking to the VR headset is also having a good time.
But you know who's not having a good time is Uncle Jim, who's laying on the couch after 5 minutes of it, and he's on his, he's knocked out, like he can't handle it anymore. So what has it been like for you guys kind of navigating that? Because I'm, like, it sounds so amazing, like, oh my gosh, a roller coaster where a T-Rex is jumping out at me, like, yes. And then you go into it, and after a couple of minutes, now I'm really uncomfortable. So what's it been like for you guys to navigate that?
I believe the first thing that we have to talk about is about that roller coasters are not for everyone, even the ones in real life. So a lot of people get dizzy in roller coasters of real life as well. And that's the first situation that we have to run through. But the second step that we always talk about is how every time that we made some change in the game that made it less dizzy for some people, we also got the complaints about how the roller coasters didn't feel real anymore. So
that's interesting.
yes, we kind of have this middle spot that is very difficult to reach, that is to please everyone, because some people expect that feeling of rush and adrenaline during the roller coasters, and if they don't get that, they are unpleased. And some people expect to see the roller coasters and do not feel anything on their bodies. And I know, of course, motion sickness hits different for each person, but and some people just shouldn't use our game, actually, because they don't have it's not good for them.
They don't have what it takes.
Yeah, I don't want to say like that to sound rude for them, but
I'll say it. You guys don't have what it takes.
It takes practice. You got to get your VR legs. But after a while of being in VR and high motion types of games, I feel like that stuff kind of goes away, and then you can handle a lot more than you're used to, than you used to be able to. And on the subject before of little kids not getting really sick in VR, I think it's because they just haven't had a lifetime of figuring out what it is that feels normal in regular life yet, right? And we know every single, like when we play a driving game, for instance, we know what it's like to be in a car all the time. We know the feelings. We know what it's like when we turn the wheel. We know how our body pushes to the side a little when we take a turn. We know all these things, and our body is very well aware of it. And when there's something wrong and it doesn't match up, we know our body's like, and it makes you motion sickness, right? But little kids, they don't know yet. They don't know what G-forces are. They don't know all the feelings of the world yet. And I feel like they just are less susceptible to it because of that.
What about you guys in the studio? Like, was it something that affected you when you were developing it? And like, did you like have to gain VR legs? Like, what's it been like?
Yes, I have a personal curious fact. I feel a lot of motion sickness playing 3D first-person games on a plain TV screen. I can't play them.
Interesting.
And it's funny because I developed for VR, and that makes no sense. And in VR, I don't feel motion sickness at all. Some games, of course, I have to use, for example, teleportation movement. I can use with the joystick, but on our games, it's very hard. Maybe some days that I don't feel very well, but I grew my VR legs over the years. But sometimes we had this joke inside that our job was not like healthy, because sometimes we were like, oh my God, I'm feeling so bad, because you test like with low frame rate and you test something that is not finished, and sometimes you're just like, I need to stop to work today because I need to lay down. I don't feel well.
Yeah, just like Uncle Jim, unfortunately. So Vertical Shift, I haven't had a chance to play it. I know Skiva had jumped into that into the game this week. What's the movement like in Vertical Shift? Do you guys have people who are struggling with things like dizziness and motion sickness in your game, Sean?
Sean, I think you're muted.
I can't hear Sean. There he is.
Exactly. Like Fernanda said, there's definitely always like you're kind of playing to both and like two audiences at the same time. Like the people who really want like the intense motion and people who don't want it as much. In terms of like people who generally don't want intense motion sickness as much, there is always a pretty steep learning curve, but we've been able to have very like extensive and consistent testing throughout the entire process to make sure that we are understanding exactly what those needs are and catering to them. And so like once they're if they want to continue getting over the learning curve, which is entirely up to them, they generally find that the rest of the experience is incredibly enjoyable. And then, but truth be told, most of our player base is largely people who are a little bit younger and are just generally able to pick up things a lot faster, kind of like you were saying earlier. And I think it's actually really funny, too, that you had mentioned getting motion sickness from first-person shooters, because when they first came out, like a long time ago, that was a very common issue, especially with older audiences. And we're kind of seeing the exact same trend where it's really kind of like the younger audiences that are going to pick this up. But that audience is just going to keep growing and growing and growing as they get older, born. And, they're the people that we really want to be focusing on and catering to.
Right. Yeah.
Man, I played this yesterday, and it was such a pleasant surprise. So for me, I love games like this. I love high movement, very high intense, super fast games. I play a lot of grapple tournament. I play games like this regularly, and this game to me was like kind of being like it was like being Iron Man and Spider-Man at the same time, right? Where you're racing through these intense, crazy environments. Everything is about speed and getting there quickly. There's some game modes that are like freeze tag and just all kinds of really cool things. But I really enjoyed this, and it was just super fun. So yeah, I just want to tell you, I really like your game.
Thank you so much. It means a lot.
Really cool.
And yeah, I mean, like, I think one thing that's really interesting about grappling hook games, especially, is that no one knows what it feels like to be Spider-Man or Iron Man, and so you don't have the same issue you have with like driving a car or walking, where you know exactly what that should feel like, and so your brain instantly can kind of slam the brakes and say, "Hey, something's up." But I think when you kind of find yourself fulfilling this fantasy, something that you've always wanted to do but have never been able to do before, your brain kind of leans into that instead of kind of fighting against it, and really wants to kind of like fill in the blanks and help you enjoy this experience as much as you can.
Yeah.
And I think too that the experience of the player playing that specific game and like knowing what to brace themselves for and like having an approach almost to some of those more intense moments has a huge impact on their ability to like play and enjoy the experience. Case in point for me was when I was doing the haptic integration for Epic Roller Coasters. When I first started jumping into that, I was like really overwhelming, and I'm like trying to film a video, so I'm like taking all the blinders off and like making it all as like comfortless as possible. And I realized like what moments were getting me. You know, I was like, oh, it's when I set my eyes on a thing and I do a loop, or it's when I do this or that. And I was able to like almost like adjust what I was doing in game during those moments to like alleviate some of that and be like, okay, when I do this flip, I'll just like close my eyes for 2 seconds, or, you know, or I'll fix on something in the distance while I'm going over this part, you know, that kind of thing. So I think the more you play the game, you also kind of learn like some tricks and tools that you can use to kind of alleviate it and avoid some of those more intense experiences.
Yeah, and I've always been really, really curious, and this might be a good question for both of you guys. Maybe we can start with Fernanda. How do you kind of QA with this, right? Do you bring people in and have like normal people that haven't played VR before, throw them in a headset, start up the experience, and watch what happens? Like, what's the how do you do this?
I mean, yes. All of those things.
Okay.
When you find a friend that has motion sickness, you stick to them and bring them with you throughout the whole development process.
Wow.
No,
so
actually,
is that for real? Do you test on people that you know have motion
we have
sickness?
a specific developer inside of B4T that every time that we came with something new about motion sickness, we ask specifically him to try it, because he has so much motion sickness with anything that we just ask him, like, try this once and tell us if it's better or worse. And
you paying him extra every time you do it or something?
Wow.
Like I would need some incentive.
What a good friend.
No, you're buying me like dinner later or something.
Yeah, it's the team feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I, this thing is disgusting. Try it. You hate disgusting stuff. Try it. It's like, man.
Yeah, that's interesting, because someone that normally does get motion sickness, you would think this would just knock them out for the count. But it's really kind of almost comforting for me to hear, going into experiences, that developers kind of take these things seriously and find people that have the problems and bring them in and kind of test this stuff on them, and that you're able to find these people that are willing to kind of go through some of this motion sickness to make your product better. So that's really, really cool.
We have a whole division of the company of moms and dads that feel motion sickness.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Wow,
actually, something curious. We've been developing roller coasters for 5 years, so sometimes owned by the eye, when someone makes a rail or something different, that we know that that's going to cause motion sickness on people. So before even using it in VR, sometimes we already have the idea of that. And then when we try in VR, then we come back and polish, of course, as much as possible, until we really give to someone that could cause motion sickness.
Mm-hmm.
We don't intentionally give something that we know that is going to cause people motion sickness.
Right.
So what's in the pipeline now for Epic Roller Coasters? Are you guys still adding content?
Yes. We've been working in a new pack of roller coasters based on real places. So
that's fun.
It's going to be a little bit like traveling and roller coasters. It's in the start. We've developed 2 roller coasters right now. It's going to be a 9 roller coasters pack as well. And of course, we just launched the multiplayer with some different ways of connect. And we've been developing internally a new shooter mode. It's something that is a little bit farther. It's a little bit in the future, but so I won't talk a lot about it, but that's something that we've been making some mock-ups and testing some things and some mechanics to make a huge difference in the game.
Sweet. Epic Roller Coasters, man. The gift that keeps on giving.
That's awesome. I really like Epic Roller Coasters. You know, I have strong VR legs. I love it. My family loves this game. It's super great. Sean, what about you? How have you been kind of testing for some of this stuff? And do you bring in people as well that get motion sickness, that get motion sickness, and throw them in your game and watch them fall over? Or what do you do?
Absolutely. Well, yes, but I think an important thing to note is that motion sickness is kind of an exponential curve, and there's a pretty noticeable tipping point right before you kind of go off the deep end, where you're just taking it off away from saving yourself the trouble.
Totally.
And Actually, exactly what we do measure is how long people play the game before they want to take it off. And so certainly, like, we know that if we grab people who are more prone, that's when we're going to get kind of like the more accurate measure. And if we can successfully make changes where we can kind of go back to those people and they play it again, but they play it longer, then we know that the changes we're making are successfully improving this issue.
Sean, I'm so glad you said that. That I think is like the most important thing, and I cannot believe that we haven't really touched on like best practices for like when you're experiencing it. You know,
Yeah.
like, taking that damn headset off is the number one. Like as soon as you get uncomfortable, as soon as that like flicker comes up, which happens for me still, and I just did it the other night. Like we took a bunch of time to organize Quake.
Yeah, Quake 3 Arena.
We were playing Quake
Yeah.
3 Arena, Dr. Beef's Quake 3 Arena mod, which works online multiplayer with flat screen versions.
Phenomenal.
So
Absolutely
amazing.
phenomenal. Mhm.
It's just so good. And I had a blast in there for like 35, 40 minutes. And then one of the levels just had tons of these like launch pads, and I'm just spinning around the whole
love
time.
that level.
And all of a sudden it hit me, and I was like, I'm out. And I just popped my headset off.
Good.
I didn't say
what you
bye.
gotta do.
I didn't like explain myself. Nothing. I just ripped the headset off and turned it off. And I was like, okay, that's it.
That's what you got to do. Because if you try to power through, then you end up
You get
really
hurt.
sick.
You get
You
hurt.
really do. You end up really sick, and it takes a very, very long time to recover from motion sickness that you try to power through. And I see people say it all the time. I see people on Twitter and all these things. Oh, you just got to power through it. Don't listen to that. Take it off. Relax. Get back to normal. Then later on that day, maybe the next day, hop back in, do it again. Eventually this will go away. You know, for most people, some people never get used to it in a car, on a boat. They might have a little bit harder of a time, right? But it's so important to not try to power through it. Take it off. You'll be good to go.
You know, I'm like sitting here thinking about Vertical Shift, and I haven't played it yet. So I want to know about the art style of Vertical Shift. Like, what was your guys' direction with the art of the game, and what's the vibe in there?
It's really interesting that you mentioned that, or you asked that, because motion sickness was a huge factor in us determining a lot of those characteristics. For example, we use a cooler color palette because we kind of noticed pretty early on in testing that like warm and bright colors generally cause a little more irritation on the eyes, which makes them kind of faster get to motion sickness faster. And then we also intentionally designed a lot of our maps to be focused around open, spread out spaces, because by kind of slowing down that peripheral motion, you're able to allow them to kind of focus on what's happening in front of them and reduce, again, kind of like irritation in the eyes that would lead to motion sickness.
Sweet. What kind of team do you guys have for Vertical Shift?
We have a team, an incredible team of, I think, 11 strong, which is, I think, like 5 programmers, 2 artists, and then the rest is kind of like business management.
Sweet. And what's kind of like on the roadmap? You know, like what's in the pipeline? What should we expect from Vertical Shift as you guys kind of march into the Winter Games for VAL and onward?
Absolutely. Well, so we're just finally able to kind of get this public early access going in January. And so from here on out, what we're largely looking to do is first improve a lot of the outstanding issues with the game, and then new game modes, new maps, cosmetics so that people can decorate themselves and have identity in the game. We're running our own tournaments. We're trying to do community tournaments in our Discord every month. And then we're trying to do ranked tournaments kind of every quarter.
Did we talk about how this game is also free to play?
That's what I was about to ask.
Yeah.
Is this a free to play game, or is it a free demo, or what's the story?
So this is a free to play game for the remainder of its, while it's in kind of like its early access demo stage. But in many ways, we really do think of Vertical Shift as a sport. And so just like any sport like basketball or football, you don't need to pay money to pay it. You don't need to pay money to play it, but that doesn't mean that there isn't money around it.
Right. I love that. And I mean, if you guys put like a $5 price tag on it or whatever, that, that's fine, but honestly, I think you stand to make so much more by making it free to play instead of charging me $5 up front, and give me the opportunity to drop the $5 on like an aesthetic or an unlockable something.
Yeah, skins like those cool gloves.
Because once I like the
Yeah.
game and I realize I'm spending time with it, I have no problem dropping $5 to stand out from the crowd, or to give me that thing, or to unlock a feature that I didn't need but now want because I realized that the game is good. So as long as you guys are doing good work, if you make a game free to play, I think that there are tons of opportunities to make money, and I am so much quicker pulling my wallet out for a game that I'm already playing and enjoying than one that I'm rolling the dice on and like hoping that I like.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have plans in the future to do like seasons or anything like that? Because this is a very competitive game, right? I mean, this is all about playing with other people, racing people, tagging people, shooting things. Like, it's very competitive. So I could kind of, first of all, I think it's perfect for an esport, right? But what are some of your plans with that? Are you going to do like some kind of season pass, skins, anything like that?
Absolutely. So basically, for about the next year or so, we're going to be in early access, and so we're going to be making changes, having content updates, really on a as needed basis, just trying to get the core foundation of the game as good as we can get it. Once we're at that stage is when we're going to be able to do a full release as a paid title, where we're going to be kicking off, like you were saying, battle passes, seasons, and having kind of like seasonal game modes that will kind of keep the gameplay fresh on a recurring basis, and having new challenges for people to play. Because one of the great things about, I think, kind of like the core mechanics that we have of being able to grapple, jetpack, and glide, is that there's so many different ways that you can combine those to do unique things that are all fun in their own different ways, which leads to so many different challenges that we can come up with that implore you to use them.
Very cool. We were just looking at some of the footage here, and it's such a cool looking game. Colors are great. It's very futuristic looking. The mechanics are super fun. If you like speed, this is where it's at right here.
Sean, what's your like favorite part of Vertical Shift, or like the part of Vertical Shift that you're most proud of?
Certainly right now, I'd have to say the community, just because it's a relatively recent, I mean, we've had a community for like slowly growing for almost 2 years now, but since the early access, we've had so many awesome people show up, and it's been really incredible getting to meet everyone, and everyone, we all like love Spider-Man, and we love like the thrill of everything that we get to do in this game, and kind of sharing all of the experiences together. We've been able to put on some really fun tournaments. I think, people have bonded in so I haven't ever really seen before. But I guess there is also just I've personally just love the thrilling feeling of kind of being Spider-Man and getting to swing through all of these environments, and really kind of immerse in that fantasy of being this superhero that you can't be in the real world.
I love it.
Very cool.
Fernanda, if there is someone listening who's kind of on the fence when it comes to jumping into a virtual roller coaster, like they're not sure if they're going to be sick, or sometimes maybe they're a little shaky, but they want to get in there, do you have any advice or like tips, or like as like a good approach for people who are approaching the game for the first time, as a way to try it out without, risking too much?
At first, I believe you could try with all the smoothness and helmets and anti-motion sickness devices that we created, so you can see if that's for you. And if it's not, it's okay. I don't think there's any problem in that. And of course, there are some different levels of intensity in different roller coasters. We have 4 free roller coasters that you can try. Some are more smoother than others, and you can try first the one that is more smooth, and then you can go harder to the ones that have loops and all the things.
I forgot
that
you guys
will
had a
make
great
your-
demo. 4 roller
Sorry?
coasters. So I forgot you guys had a great demo. There's 4 roller coasters that you can just go and download and play right away without paying anything.
Yes, actually, while you were talking with Sean about being free, that's something that it's a curiosity. We have only 2 kinds of complaints in our games. First is motion sickness, and the second one is this game is free, and how the hell I have to pay for something? So it's interesting because sometimes we have like 1 stars review saying, I love this game, but why do I have to pay for it? Why do they charge for something? And I don't know, maybe you guys will see that in the future if you keep being free. It's just a heads up.
Well, hopefully not. I think you guys deserve to be compensated for all of your hard work. You know, making VR games is not easy, and I don't know how not easy because I'm not a developer, but I know it's not an easy feat to make these games look good, sound good, run good, feel good. And you know, as VR enthusiasts and VR community members, I will personally take the opportunity to thank you on behalf of all of us for quitting whatever dumb job you were doing before to be a VR developer, because it's kind of a risk. It's not exactly the safest route to go, and it comes out of passion, and we see that and respect it. So thank you guys for being developers and making these things happen, because without you, we wouldn't have games to play.
For real. Respect.
Thank you, guys.
So is there anything?
Yeah, at first it was not easy, but today the community is big compared to this 5 years ago. And I think sometimes we still have, our company is from Brazil, so VR is not like a big, it's not a mainstream device in Brazil. So when we show someone, sometimes this is still like a surprise. Maybe United States. I believe Sean is also from United States by the accent. Okay. So when we show someone the game or a device, mostly it's their first time with VR. And we still have this discussion about, oh, this time this VR is going to stay and is going to prosper. And I don't think that is a discussion anymore. I think the community is only going to get bigger and stronger in the future. I think VR is solid now, and of course we still have problems and things to struggle, but if I could give a piece of advice to developers today is that if you have a VR idea of a game, don't be afraid about if it's going to sell or something like that. Probably if you're going to have a good game, things will work out because the community is very strong and already big enough to have like a good title inside of it. So you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Beautiful. You are just speaking my language over there, Fernando. Thank you so much for joining us and bringing your wisdom as a developer and your skills as a developer into Epic Roller Coasters. You know, thanks for being involved in the Virtual Athletics League. However it is that you guys are involved, we can go to the website and discover how you can participate with virtual roller coasters. Sean, is there anything that's kind of been left unsaid about Vertical Shift and what you guys are up to?
No, but I just wanted to thank you guys so much for having me on. It was really fun.
Dude, thank you. It was really fun. We love chatting with all of you, and I feel lucky that I get to, you know, rub shoulders with the people who are doing magic. Like, you guys are literally like magicians to me. Like, I do not know how you just conjure virtual worlds out of thin air.
You are creating new existences.
It's great.
That's unreal. Good for you guys.
So
and you're doing it well.
Thank you guys very much for joining us today.
Thank you guys for the opportunity, and anytime.
All right.
We might take you up on that. So everybody say goodbye to Fernanda and Sean. Epic Roller Coasters.
See you guys later.
Vertical Shift. Go play those games. You can do so for free. I mean, how do you got to do that? So, and there they go. They're gone. Wow. Well, hey, listen, thanks for hanging in there with us, everybody, today. This has been an exciting one. We had 4 guests. We had OBS crash on us, and, you know, we had some amazing conversation. So Had a
We
couple
did.
of problems,
Thanks-
but some
yeah.
great chats.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for sticking with it. This was a really, really fun episode to do. And we will be back on Wednesday for the second half of this VAL Winter Games special, where we will have even more games that you guys know, like Synth Riders, Boombox VR, Fit XR, and VZ Fit, to do all kinds of stuff from rhythm games to fitness games. And fitness is so huge right now. Both rhythm games and fitnesses. I mean,
It's gonna be a sweaty episode.
that
man.
is going to be a sweaty episode.
It's gonna be a
Awesome.
super sweaty episode. Well, hey, listen, thanks to our super sweaty chat for being here with us. This show would not be as much fun as it is without you guys being here and joining us for these live broadcasts. And if you're catching this afterwards, not live, that's okay. We still love you and really appreciate you listening, especially those audio listeners out there. Shout out to you guys, because we weren't even sure if it was like worth the time, and Skeev has been doing it for months, and it turns out people are listening to it. So it's
They
nice.
Heck yeah.
You know, thanks again to all of our guests today. Thanks again to the Virtual Athletics League for sponsoring this episode and next week's episode as well. And, you know, Hussein X and Tribe and Jansen, GTGT, little Daniel, the Bearded Bard, and Jansen Fox. Did I just say that? Probably. We've got Rudel Zavedno. Oh my God. Rudel Zavedno. Rudel
Something like that.
Zavedno. Rudel
Yeah.
Zavedno.
That could be it.
That's my boy. Little Mr. Survivor, and Duggars K was there, and Person, and you know, Sterling Youngman. Dude, thank you guys. Hussein X, thank you all for being here. We're gonna go.
Yeah.
I think
Let's do it.
we're gonna leave.
Get outta here.
And
It's Friday, people.
it's
Enjoy
Friday.
your weekend.
Enjoy your weekend. Hit us up if you want a game this weekend.
Yes.
I'm all about multiplayer games right now. So except for I have been a little hooked to Elden Ring. Whatever. Have a good weekend, everyone, and we'll see you on
All right.
Thursday. Well, no, Wednesday.
Wednesday. All right.
See you on Wednesday.
Bye-bye.